Well, excuse me. Good afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. We will open our Riverfront Trust meeting. Our chairman is absent today, and I am going to be chairing for you. There are no items under item 2, so we'll move to item 3, which is minutes of the last meeting.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. If there are no questions, please record your vote. Item passes. Next, item 4 is the consent docket. We have 3 items: sand mining report, oil and gas, and river corridor events update.
Move approval of all 3 items.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions? If not, please record your vote. Item carries. Move to the primary agenda items. Under 5A is the received status report of the initial MAPS 3 riverfront projects.
Mr. Casper, Eric Winger is here with us this morning. Eric is the program coordinator for the MAPS 3 projects, and he will give us a little bit of an update.
Eric, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and trustees. We obviously are proceeding very quickly on MAPS 3, and one of the projects that's come into focus is the river itself. For those that don't recall, the vote was, of course, passed nearly a year ago. We started making sales tax collections April 1st, and we've collected a little over $40 million to date on the nearly $800 million program. Those collections will go through the end of 2017. We plan to use much of the same protocol and procedure that we used on MAPS 1 and MAPS 2. We've had 7 meetings of the Citizens Advisory Board, and most recently, as it affects this river, or at least the Oklahoma River, the subcommittee has been named by the City Council this past Tuesday, a week ago, and so things are proceeding very quickly. We hope to have the first subcommittee meeting in December, and at that time we will bring them up to speed with the various components of MAPS 3, the things that are strictly related to the river, and as we make plans to move forward. When we look at the progress to date, and I think this is included in the memo that's in your packets today, we've actually begun 2 of the projects, at least the selection for consultants of 2 of the river projects. We were approached by Mr. Downs and Mr. Knopp on some opportunity for the U.S. Masters National Rowing Championships that will be held here next summer to advertise for the windscreen and the race course lighting projects. And so those have been advertised and proposals have been received. Those were received on October 29th. With the naming of the subcommittee last week, we are going to be utilizing the city's process for the selection of consultants, and that includes identifying a committee. With that committee, 2 representatives of the river subcommittee will be participating, as well as 2 members of the advisory board. So we're including very much a full host of folks that include the city manager's office, the public works department, our office, and then also the MAPS 3 advisory board and its team. Those names have yet to be submitted by the chairman, but we expect those shortly, the chairman of the subcommittee. And with that, we'll distribute those proposals, shortlist, interview, and then hopefully identify firms for both those projects to begin the designs immediately. But with that, obviously, there's a lot of projects ahead. We are in the process of engaging our program consultant for MAPS 3, very similar to what we did on the previous 2 programs. ADG is the consultant that we've selected, and they're going to assist us in prioritizing the project. So as we look at all 8 MAPS projects, we should have a better understanding this upcoming spring as kind of the order, how we are going to phase the different components of MAPS 3, and should be able to provide you additional updates at that time. But with that, I'd be happy to answer your questions you may have about the river components of MAPS 3.
Any questions of anyone? Is there a motion to receive his report?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please record your vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item is approved. Item B is to receive appointments to the MAP 3 Citizens Advisory Board River Subcommittee.
Mr. Chairman, it's included in your packet, and I think it's important to point out that Brian Doherty and Mayor Norick from this board have been appointed to that board to provide continuity and coordination. And then it's also, I think, important to point out that Councilman McAdee, who sits on this board, also sits on the advisory board, the main advisory board for MAPS 3, so another conduit for, again, communication coordination. This is the 7th of the, or it isn't the 7th, but there have now been 7 subcommittees appointed on MAPS 3. the one remaining that has not been appointed yet is an architectural review committee that will be appointed, I think, in the near future. And I'm not sure of the numbers, but I don't know. We're in the somewhere 70 to 75, 80 people are now involved, either on the subcommittees or on the MAPS Advisory Committee itself. So we're trying to get a good job, and I know Mayor Norrick's is really attempted to touch all parts of the community as he makes these appointments.
Any comments or questions of anyone? Is there a motion to receive these appointments?
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please record your vote. Item is approved. Moving to item C, which is recommend the City Council approve a revocable permit with OKC Events and Entertainment for 2010 Devon Energy Corporation Holiday Boat Parade and Festival, December the 4th, 2010.
Be happy to answer any questions. This is not obviously the first time we've had a revocable for the holiday boat parade, and it's similar to ones we've had in the past.
Any questions or comments from anyone?
Move the item.
Second? Yes, excuse me, Larry?
Yeah, I just have a comment and/or a question, Jim. Moving the people to the site this year is possibly going to be somewhat of a challenge compared to in the past due to the construction that's going on the north side.
I don't think it's going to be any more challenging than it's been for some of the other events down there. There is two-way traffic off of from the north coming off of Reno, and there is south access. And actually, we have probably the best parking situation that we've had down there ever. So there are some improvements along that area, and the access is you got to wind through there, but it isn't any less accessible than it's been there for previous years.
Are we going to? Is somebody going to put out some extra signage and make sure we can get people to the?
There actually is some signage out there. How to specifically get down to the boathouse and
No, I meant no. The major portion of it at Wally Post Park. Is Robinson not closed, as I recall?
Robinson is closed, but you can access over Robinson and you get over to Shields. So there's a connection from Shields to Robinson and on down. Walker is closed.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? We have a motion and a second.
Well, I'll just make a quick comment that I talked to the promoter last night, and he doesn't have as many boat entries as he would like at this point in time. So anybody hearing this or seeing this out there that would like to enter a boat and get it decorated and so forth, he's still taking entries for that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, please record your vote. Item is approved. Moving to item D, which is ratify actions of the City Council in approving change order number 2 for project MB 0937 Public Works River Maintenance Facility.
Mr. Chairman, this is a change order that has previously been to council, and this is the ratification of the action. Help me out on the specifics of this one, Robbie, if you would, please.
The change order is for reinforced concrete boxes to place in the river cove where the boat dock is going. As you're aware, from time to time the city drains the river lake, and most of the time when you design a boat dock, it always floats in the lake, never sits on the bottom. So the concrete boxes will provide a concrete foundation so that the footprint of the walkways can rest flat while the river's drained. And then when the water comes back up, the dock will float back up. The intent was for the city to purchase these boxes directly from the supplier. And as we got into the project and after we bid it, they realized they did not have an open market contract with that supplier. So that's why we completed a change order with Downey Contracting. The cost of the boxes was planned all along.
Any questions of Rob? Comments?
Move approval.
Been moved and seconded. Please record your vote. Item is approved. Thank you, Robbie. Item 6 is the claims docket. Been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Please record your vote. Item is approved. Move to item 7, which is comments by the staff. Development report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and trustees. Just a couple of highlights that are in your written report. One is to make certain that everyone did notice in the first paragraph of the report the meeting that had been scheduled for the month of December for the 28th has been canceled. I want to make a note of that on your calendars. We're going to meet instead on the 21st, same time, same place, but to accommodate a greater number of the trustees, city staff, and others in terms of holiday schedule. So I want to make sure that is brought to your attention. Obviously, the holiday boat parade is the most current and hot item coming along, and although we are, I think, behind previous years on our boat count, we've had some very good publicity thus far, and I think some other very positive notices coming out. Our stakeholders group will meet on the 1st at the new Fairfield Inn, which is just west of Meridian. Certainly all of you who are trustees and Key City staff should have already received an email invitation to that. If you haven't, please let us know, because we'd like to correct the email invitation list. And then I did receive a verbal inquiry regarding not the sport of paintball, but something that appears to be a new sport very similar to that. And I know this body had some discussions about that sport and those activities on river property probably some 10 years ago by now. I don't have anything in writing as yet from the proposer, but I wanted to make the trustees aware that that would be coming along, and more than likely would refer that at the chairman's discretion to the Development and Water Use Committee. If there are any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, would request that the report be received as submitted.
Thank you. And by the way, I think we need to acknowledge what an international celebrity you've become. You can't turn on the radio or TV without hearing pat downs.
The pat downs, yeah. I got a lengthy voicemail from our former Mayor Humphreys along those lines, suggesting that I might want to go back to my given name of Patrick for a while.
Any questions of Pat on the director's report? Is there a motion to receive it?
So moved.
Second. Please record your vote. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Any comments from any of the trustees? Any citizens in our audience that would like to speak?
Might be good to have Mr. Downs or Mr. Knopf give us an update on the topping out ceremony with the Chesapeake finish line last night.
We had a wonderful ceremony last night, another milestone for the river, where we did top out the Chesapeake finish line tower and put the final beam up on top, and commemorated that with the evergreen on top, as is the tradition. It was a rather large evergreen, but over 30 feet tall, and thanks to our friends at Chesapeake, we've beautifully lit the tree, and it will be up throughout the holiday season. So it's a great addition to the venue down there, and with the Devon boathouse lights and the bridge lights, we've really got it's a great thing to come see it during the holidays. So I encourage you to go down. It'll be up for the holiday boat parade. So, all right. Thank you.
Doc, if you could real quick, and it just now came to mind, but I know you had a recent high school event down there, which I think is remarkable that we have high schools already interested in rowing competition, and I can't imagine that'll go do anything but just grow from there.
We had an event. It was probably the coldest day of the year so far. It was last Tuesday, a week ago, Tuesday, and really great success. We really tried to create an event that, a lot of these kids didn't know a lot about rowing before getting involved, and of course they know football and basketball. We wanted to create that kind of environment at the river, and so we had cheerleaders and had a lot of fans. And even though it was cold, they had a great experience. There were 5 teams: Capitol Hill, U.S. Grant, Santa Fe South, Putnam City, Northwest Classen, and they're hooked, and now the administrators, there's a lot of kids that want to do it. We're going to do another program this spring, which will be a middle school program, and really I think the barn door's just open, and we're going to have a lot of growth in that program in years to come, so pretty exciting. Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Anything from anyone else? If not, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.